Hello, welcome to the Treasure Box. For anyone new visiting, my name's Wendy. I sell vintage and contemporary jewelry and accessories. So this is a mini haul from an estate sale that I went to a little over a week ago. I got some fabulous pieces, and so I just wanted to show you what I found. And as well, if you stay through the end, I'll show you my favorite brooch that I've ever bought, and also a really great book recommendation. So we'll start with this butterfly brooch. So this really large, beautiful butterfly brooch is by Vendome. And if you're not familiar, Vendome was a subsidiary of Coro, but eventually they went off on their own. But they produced really like high quality costume jewelry, so their pieces are very collectible. And this is in excellent condition. The Aurora Borealis stones have a little bit of wear, but overall, I'm not sure if this is from like the 1960s or thereabouts, but really, really beautiful. So we have that piece, and I actually have another Vendome piece. Let's see, we've got this necklace, signed by Vendome on the back, and it's just a long mesh necklace with faux pearls. Really good shape. This slider has been in the same place. It only slides on one side, which I think is on purpose. It's the way it was designed, but there's definitely some wear where it's been kind of stuck for the last, I don't know how long. But you can see there's some verdigris on here, and I've already cleaned it with vinegar. If anybody has any other suggestions of what works well with verdigris, I'd like to see if I can get it a little bit better looking. I just did Q-tip and a vinegar, and I got it to look less green. So we have that really long, pretty necklace by Vendome. And then I'll move on to this lovely butterfly brooch, really pretty with sort of sky blue rhinestones and green. And here's the back. So there is some what they call like puddling. So I thought that it might be Juliana. So there's a great website, if you don't already use it, called Is It Juliana Jewelry? And so I did search. You could search by like brooches, necklaces, and then, kind of like shape, butterfly, or something else. So I did go through several pages, and I did find this. So this does appear to be a Juliana piece. Most of their brooches, though, do have what's called a pin stop on the back here, and this doesn't. But I still think this is a Juliana piece regardless, because I did find the exact same one. The thing with Juliana jewelry is that they, in the first couple of years of their operation, they signed contracts with so many firms. So they actually produced jewelry for Weiss, Hattie Carnegie, Kenneth J. Lane, Kramer, Hobe, celebrity Alice Cavanis, so they really produce lots of jewelry, and that actually wasn't, I don't think, branded either. So there's lots of their pieces, and you just got to figure out. That's a great website, and I know there's lots of books and other resources too, but the website is a great resource to just make sure that your piece is indeed a Juliana piece. And so next we will move on to this brooch by Hobe. And I don't find a lot of Hobe pieces. So there's the signature on the back, Hobe. And I think it says 66. So this was produced in 1966. So you've got the clear rhinestones, green stones, and these pearl dangles. Put this down for a second. So Hobe was originally a French company. He was the father. I think his name is, let me just quickly look. I think his name was Jacques. He founded the business in Paris, but his son came over to New York in the 1920s to open the New York branch, and that's where all the costume jewelry was created from. So really lovely pieces, well made. I wish I'd find more of their things. So we have this piece. Let's see. I have this funny one. It is a Santa Claus brooch with these kind of gold dangles. And it does have quite a bit of gold tone wear. It says signed Hobe on the back. And the eyes, they are gray stones. Those aren't dead stones. Where I forgot to mention in this brooch, so here, like a dead stone. So that one and that one are considered dead stones. I think the foil has been damaged or is no longer kind of protecting the back. So then you get that look of a dead stone. I think that's what that means. Please correct me below if I'm wrong. So yeah, we have this. So those are intentional because I've looked at other of these Santa Claus brooches and they all have the gray eyes. So that was an intentional thing. So we have that brooch. And then this is my favorite. Not my favorite brooch I have found, that's coming up. But my favorite, I love this brooch. So this is another Hobe brooch made in the 1960s with kind of green Navette rhinestones, clear rhinestones, and these red dangles. Also signed Hobe on the back. And there's only been a handful of these that have sold. I found one that sold for $310. I'm going to put this down. So what I want to mention with pieces like this, and one of the reasons I do go to estate sales, is you're finding somebody's like collection of jewelry versus like, let's just say an auction or a Goodwill Blue Box or Goodwill online. You know, it's usually jewelry from many sources, which is great. But when you get somebody's personal collection, you may be getting jewelry from like a set decade or company. So I was able to find all these pieces at once. You know, estate sales do have their drawbacks. I got up at, I don't know what hour, like 6:30. It was freezing out. I had to get numbers. You know, you wait in line, you sit in your car, all of that. There was literally 40 people waiting. I was actually fourth in line. And so it is an exhausting process. But, you know, with the right sales and the right pieces, they're definitely worth going to estate sales. So this was a great find as well. I really love this brooch. So we have that one. And then this was a bit of a blooper. So all the pieces I showed you except the necklace were in the case. And so in the description for the estate sale, it literally had tons of costume jewelry. I wouldn't say tons. There was a box of bag stuff and there was a display case. But in the photo, and I'll show you my favorite brooch in a minute, that was all I had to go on is the jewelry. There was like a handful of pieces in a blurry photo. So it really didn't give me a sense that there was a ton of costume jewelry. And there wasn't a ton. There was a normal amount. So this was in the bag, one of the bags. And I just saw the Hobe on the back. And at this point, I had the box of bag jewelry to myself, but other people had come over. So it was getting a little crowded. So I grabbed this without really thoroughly investigating it. So clearly it's missing this whole piece here, but I think I'm going to list it as is and let somebody who repurposes jewelry, they could do some really like pretty like dangle from that. You know, it's a nice cross or whatever it was to begin with. I think it was a cross. So I think this could be repurposed. I don't know what I'll price it at. Clearly it's not a complete piece, but it is still really pretty and the rest of it looks great. It just needs to add something down here. So we have that piece. Then we have two more pieces and then my book recommendation. So this is Miriam Haskell. Let's see the tag here, Miriam Haskell. And it's just a faux pearl bracelet with these heart charms, brass heart charms. And the one thing I want to mention about Miriam Haskell is that in the 1920s, she came to New York with $500 in her pocket. And at that time, that was probably a lot more than it is today. But she opened a store a couple years later in a hotel that I think has now been converted. It may be a newer hotel, but it's not the same one. So, she started her business pretty simply. And, she actually had a lot of people like movie stars that, bought her products like Joan Crawford and Lucille Ball. And I had actually read that Joan Crawford had almost most of her things that she created from the 1920s to the 1960s. I'd love to know what happened to that collection, but she literally had, it said almost every piece she had created. I don't know if that's possible, but I don't know if Joan kept those and it was passed down through the family or if that was sold, because that would be a really amazing collection of Miriam Haskell. The one thing I do want to mention that was really funny, I don't know if this is just me, I remember those pearls you had that you kind of like pull apart and like they kind of just, and that's what these remind me of. These are little beads here, but it does remind me of like the pearls that you pull apart and put together. I don't know if anybody else has that reference. I just remember them. So that's when I saw this, I was kind of like, is this Miriam Haskell? It's still a cute bracelet, but it did kind of throw me at first. I didn't think it was Miriam Haskell right off the bat. So I am getting to my favorite brooch. I love this brooch. So this, in my 4 years of selling jewelry, I think it's been about 4 years, this is my favorite brooch I have found. So this is Vendome on the back, and I'm actually hanging on to this for a little while. I'm not going to list it. I love this. And I'm pretty good when I find stuff. I tend to, clean it, list it, sell it. I don't get too attached to things, but I love this. I think this is just stunning. And so I'm going to hang on to it for a little while. And I'm so happy that I went to the sale, because this is what brought me to the sale. This was in the one jewelry photo. It was a blurry photo. It was in the corner. I was like, well, that's kind of a pretty brooch. I have no idea who that is, but I'm kind of curious. And that's literally what got me out of bed into the freezing cold to stand, for this estate sale. So I am really glad I did, but this is my favorite piece. And I just love this. So it looks like kind of like a faux opal in these sort of minty green prong set rhinestones. It's just amazing. And it's really large. I don't even know, to be honest, how you'd wear it. It's really big. It'd actually be pretty too, kind of as a necklace, I think. But anyway, so that is my favorite brooch. So hang on for a second. I'm going to raise the camera because I want to show you this book. Let's see. Okay, so if you have a Barnes & Noble near you, I'm going to just adjust the camera a bit and move the brooches and things away so you can see this. I highly recommend stopping by and seeing if you can find this. I'm going to just adjust this a little bit more. So this is the Smithsonian book called, I'll raise this even higher, called Jewel. And it was in the remainder table. So the area of Barnes & Noble where they have like all those kind of discount books. So this is normally, I think, like a $40 book, and it was, $40, and it was $20. And it's amazing. So it was originally published as the book called Gem. So if you look for this, you can't find it really, and there may be a copy or two on eBay, but if you look on Amazon, you'll only find Gem, which I'm going to link to below. But if you have a Barnes & Noble, definitely go and see if they have this, because this is a great resource. So I'll just flip through so you can get an idea, because I know it's so hard with books. If you buy them online, you don't really get a sense of like what's in them. So I'll just show you. So it goes through all the different gems from their original like form to it being like polished and cut, and examples in jewelry as well. So here's some of amber, jet. So for $20, this is just an amazing resource. I love Fabergé. So just to give you an idea, jewelry shopping. Look at the emeralds. I should have bought a couple other copies. So if you're in the Connecticut area at all, I found this at the Barnes & Noble up in Milford. We used to have a Barnes & Noble down here, but it closed. We just have a small little one. But like the large stores with the chairs you used to be able to sit down in that disappeared during COVID. So yeah, that would be one place to find it. And I don't know if you called them, if they would like ship it or something, but they had about like maybe 6 or 7 copies left, and this was about like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. So there. So that kind of gives you an idea, but just really beautiful examples of the different gemstones and where they're found, the properties and examples. But highly recommend it. It's just a stunning book. So I love this. Well worth the $20. Look at that. That is an amazing piece. So anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this video. So this is just a look at what I found from the recent estate sale and the jewel book. So please hit like, subscribe if you've enjoyed the content. Please comment below and let me know if you had a favorite piece, what you'd like to see more of, and I will see you soon. And I promise my best jewelry haul that I have promised for a long time should be my next video. Okay, bye.